All right, let's talk about something that's so important, but, often wrapped up in a lot of fear and just confusion. We're going to dive into what it's like parenting across two completely different cultures. We'll explore why, for African parents here in Germany, finding your way really means understanding two worlds and how they can and should work together for that one single goal, making sure your family is safe, happy, and strong.
I remember this scene so clearly. The pain in that room was just heavy. But you know what really struck me? The family had been in contact with support services for years. Years. And even after all that time, they still didn't truly get the system they were in. And that, right there, is a huge part of the problem.
And this is really the heart of the issue. We're talking about loving, committed, strong parents. But so often, they wait to ask for help until things are already at a crisis point. And by then, you can imagine, fear is through the roof, trust is at an all-time low, and every single meeting feels less like a helpful chat and more like you're gearing up for a legal battle.
So to really understand why this keeps happening, we've got to look at the deep differences in how parenting and support are even seen in the first place. It's really like a tale of two completely different worlds.
This slide really lays it out, doesn't it? On one hand, in many African cultures, raising a child is a shared thing, a community thing. You've got the village, aunts, uncles, elders, your neighbors, they all have a hand in it. It's this beautiful, informal safety net. But in Germany, a lot of the time, that village just isn't there. Instead, support is super structured, it's professional, and it's all guided by laws, like the SGB VIII, which is carried out by the Jugendamt, the Youth Welfare Office. And here's the most important thing to get from all of this. These two systems are not enemies. They shouldn't be fighting against each other. The truth is, they're at their absolute best. They're most powerful when they work together, when they complement each other.
Okay, so a huge part of building that bridge is just taking away the fear. And the best way to do that is with good, clear information. So let's break down some of these kind of scary-sounding German terms into plain, simple language.
Hilfe zur Erziehung. It literally means support for upbringing. And what's so important to know is that this is your legal right as a parent. It's a form of help. It's there to support you. It is not a punishment for getting something wrong.
All right, next is Inobutnahme. This one sounds intense, I know, but it just means temporary protective care. Think of it as an emergency button. It's used in a serious crisis to make sure a child is safe right away. And interestingly, it can even happen if a child themselves goes and asks for help.
Now, this is a really important point, a crucial check and balance. The Jugendamt does not get the final say on your parental rights. Any restrictions or, in the most serious cases, taking away parental rights can only be decided by a family court. There's a whole legal process involved.
I really want you to just sit with this for a second. Needing help and actually using the services that are there for you is not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that you are exercising your right to get support. And to really let that sink in, to understand this isn't about you failing as an individual, we need to zoom out. Let's look at just how big this whole system is. I promise you, you are not alone in this. I mean, just look at this number. In 2024, nearly 70,000 kids were taken into protective care. This shows you that needing some kind of emergency help isn't some rare thing that only happens to a few families. It's happening all over. And then look at this. This is the other side of the coin. In just 1 year, over 1 million educational support services were provided. That is a massive number of families getting the help they need to get back on their feet and move forward.
And the money. The German government put almost 79 billion euros into child and youth welfare this year. Now, why does that number matter? Because it proves this isn't about pointing fingers at individuals. It's a huge societal investment in a national safety net for families.
So let's just be super clear about this. Finding yourself dealing with this system does not mean you failed. It just means you are living in a country that has built a huge, complex structure to try and help families when they need it most. Okay, so understanding the system is step one. That's huge. The next step is about being proactive. So let's get into a really practical checklist of things you can do to get ahead of things, to act before a crisis ever really starts.
Let's walk through these one by one. First, build your village now. Seriously, find a community that gets both sides of your world, the African family side and the German system side, before you're in trouble. 2, ask questions early. When everything's calm, find out what's voluntary and what's legally required. 3, show you're willing to cooperate. That means really listen in meetings, ask for things to be clearer, and show you're working toward your child's safety. 4. Use independent support. There are things called ombud services or ombudsstellen. They're neutral third parties designed to help you figure out conflicts. And last, number 5, protect your documentation. Keep good, clear records of every conversation, every email. It can save you from so many misunderstandings down the line. Okay, let's pull all these threads together now. This all comes down to one final, really important shift in how we think about this. It's about totally reframing what it means to ask for help. I really want to say this again, directly to anyone who's listening and might be feeling that shame or fear. Reaching out for support is not, I repeat, not a sign of weakness. It is an act of pure wisdom. It means you're smart enough to see the challenges and use the tools you have to protect your family.
You know that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child? It's as true today as it ever was. The only thing is, here in Germany, your village has to look a little different. It absolutely needs to include both that cultural warmth and understanding from your community and real practical knowledge of how the German system actually works. You need both.
So the real question is, what does your support network look like right now? And what's maybe one small step you can take to make it stronger? If you're wondering where to even start, well, that's exactly why ParentCompass was created, to be that bridge, to bring together that community strength and that system understanding that families need. The whole idea is to get you informed early so you can act with confidence long before anything ever becomes a crisis.